Hey, we're live. What happened to my? Oh, there it is. There's my music. Hi, hey. Welcome to the off-night where comics get together and talk about, shoot the crap,
and have poetry.
Oh yeah, my wife will show her poem, which we do every week. Her news-infused poem that we began using it as the agenda, but two topics from it. But anyway, let me stop the music here, and we'll get on with our live podcast. Andy is normally our introductory guest. And he introduces the show and brings me on, but he wasn't here, so I had to do it myself. That's fine.
You're Ed McMahon.
He's my Ed McMahon. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so let's go right to well, before we bring our other regulars out here, I'm going to get to my wife. I'm going to scoot aside here.
Get your wife.
I'm going to put my wife on here. She, as I mentioned, she does a poem every week, and here she
poem.
is. Susan.
Mark asked me to write a poem, so I do. There are wars and floods, and life is very hard. A gag order on Trump, a Michigan judge was disbarred. But here's the story I want to pursue. It's a current event, but rights behind it aren't new. Name one law that the government can enforce on a male body part. What? Nothing? Of course. States can make laws on your female bit. If you have a uterus, lawmakers own it. A state takes control over family IVF plights. Alabama says eggs and jizz have infant rights. There's your poem. Right? Hot from the presses right. Into a poem.
Yeah. Well, any poem with the word jizz is going to be hot. So, okay.
So, let's have comments from other comedians.
I'm going to bring other comedians on. Just give me a second here. All right. From New York, here's our favorite curmudgeon, Sam Greenfield. Everybody.
I'm so high. I just said hard bum bug.
And from Ypsilanti, Michigan, here he is, Jason Grant.
Hey, just want to let you know I'm more than 500 feet from a school. Okay,
so it's all
good. It's all
cool.
Well,
so you
away
say
from fertilized eggs.
By the way, you know what a real surprise was? The governor of Texas says he is all in favor of IVF.
Oh, really?
That shocked me.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't understand anybody who's not in favor of IVF and bringing abuse. That stunned me that he was actually human for 3.5 seconds.
Wow.
Hey, Susan, what was this body part you speak of that the government is trying to regulate that you ladies have and we men don't?
The uterus.
In what?
That's a Greek poet.
Well,
what law this?
Well, only female bits does the government get involved between a woman and her doctor. So, is there a male body part that the government
I'm just curious. Was there
the Supreme Court to decide what men can do with their body parts?
Well, there's been some, not so much a part, but the whole body when it says we got to go to war.
That's true.
They do. I mean, you don't. I do. But I mean, was there a recent ruling or something that is chafing your?
Well, yeah, this whole Alabama thing giving infant rights to fertilized eggs,
making it illegal.
Regardless of my personal opinion on when does life begin, I don't think you should be charged with murder because the freezer broke and the eggs all died. That's a bit much, but that's kind of where they're going with that. And then to interfere with people that are actually trying to start a family is like you can't have it both ways. You must have as many babies as you possibly can, but we won't let you use test tubes and we'll charge you as criminals if something goes awry. I mean,
Well, you know,
come on, Alabama.
for whatever it's worth, as a gay man who despises children, the fact that more and more people are childless only thrills me to
Is that what
Not
your
doesn't
probation?
like.
That was your
This-
probation officer told you
Not
to
doesn't
say?
like, despises.
Well, and as
what's
a woman and a mother of 8 and somebody who has run my own daycare and
Yeah.
foster care, and
You have a different attitude.
I love children.
Yeah.
I still don't think that the government should interfere in family planning. That should be a personal matter between a woman and her husband,
well, sadly,
her
this
partner,
fight's been going
her
on.
doctor.
That's
government
it.
shouldn't get involved.
That's it. The woman,
this
her
fight's
partner,
been
and the
going on
doctor.
since,
That's it. That's
you know,
that's
for,
the
for a long
triumvirate.
time.
I
mean, Margaret Sanger.
I am willing to make this compromise.
Yes.
Make sure every fertilized egg is birthed, but give them free health care from the moment they're born until they die.
That's right.
I'll make that. I
like that.
This is what kills me. They're pro-life until the child is born.
Yeah.
And they don't give a shit what happens to them.
No, you have to grow it up to at least 5 or 6. They can start working the looms, working in the mills, or sewing baseballs.
And to make sure that they stay in line, make sure they have guns. Got to give them guns.
Well, you don't
take it out of the uterus, hand them a gun.
No, you're absolutely right. They don't care, and some very well-meaning folks at places that we've been members of, you know, when we decided to do foster care and then subsequently adopt kids, you know, and people would talk about when does life begin and so forth and so on. And my comment was, you know, why doesn't anybody care about the kids who are already here?
I think there's a lot of
like
people who do.
30,000 kids in Michigan that need adoptive homes. Just go on Mayor, and only about 2,000 to 3,000 get adopted every year.
Well, if they're in their late teens, they can spend the night at my house.
Well, let's skirt that issue for a minute. But people that care, like you said, they care about the unborn child, and it's like, you know, that's fine if that's your agenda. But for me, I'm going to care about the kids who are already here.
Who should be hung up on her own petard is Sarah Palin. You know, I'm pro-life. In her autobiography, she wrote, "I was told that my daughter would be born with Down syndrome, and I thought about getting abortion, but I chose to bring her to life. I chose." Well, that makes you pro-life. I'm sure pro-choice rather.
Right.
If you had the option and you chose, then I know I'm hammering it here, but then you're pro-choice, and you're stupid, and Alaska hates you.
Yeah.
And your husband hates you. And when they asked why, he said, "Have you seen this bitch?" I mean, that's not good.
I tell you what, I have lived too long when I feel that Sarah Palin is owed an apology, because we had no idea that Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene were going to come along. to make Sarah Palin look like, you know.
Well, she's out of the mix. No one cares. She's
you know, it's really kind of sad. John McCain, I understand why he picked her. I do, because if you ever read the book Game Change, because they were panicked because a black man was the nominee, and they said we have to do a game change, and they had all these Republican women, Christy Todd Whitman, the woman in Texas whose name I can never remember, but these
the
were
former Senator Kay Bailey Hutchins.
Yes, thank you. That's it. Yes, all down the line.
I've got naked pictures of her if you want them.
Murkowski,
no, thank
Murkowski,
you. Right, and in Alaska.
Yeah.
And the reason they chose her, I think, she's good looking, and she's got a gift of gab. But
you're right. I think you're right.
But her ego went nuts, and she lied to McCain. He said to her, or Steve Schmidt did. He said, "Listen, we're going to be asking you to take positions you may not like." Well, that's all right. My father, about abortion. So when my father was a biology teacher, and I fully blah blah blah, and then she was asked to appear with a guy who's pro-choice, she said, "I'm not doing it." And when they said to her, "But you have to," she said, "Let me tell you something. I raised more money than John McCain has in the last 5 years. I'm going to do what I want to do." And she is responsible for the phrase "going rogue."
But do you also remember that in Michigan, our last great governor, who I would argue is William Milliken, was a dedicated, outspoken pro-choicer, and that there was a time the Republican Party felt that it was none of their damn business to be regulating what women do with their wombs. That time did exist. There were such people.
Yeah, all those Republicans
are dead.
Oh, or if there's any like them left, they've been run out of the party.
Well, when someone says they are a JFK Democrat, JFK would be a Republican today.
Yes,
he wouldn't be a MAGA, but he'd be a Republican.
He'd be in the sort of Eastern, what they used to call it, the Eastern intellectual,
pro defense, pro less taxes,
right, pro business,
middle of the road about a lot of things,
but on social issues, liberal.
Yeah.
Although I think
we have
more liberal than him.
Oh, and they'd also be backing Ukraine against Russia.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, when it comes to things like forced sterilization, people think Nazi Germany, but in this great state of Michigan, we were doing that to people before it happened in Nazi Germany, and there was a famous case that ended all that. But
before Nazi
they would
Germany,
kids would end up, if they were orphaned or whatever, before we had foster care that we have today, they would end up in an institution, but they wouldn't just release them when they turned 18. They would force sterilize them before they could be released. And there was one child whose guardian just refused to sign that sterilization. And that's the case that we have in Michigan now that prevents the state of Michigan from forcing sterilization on adults. They can exit the foster care system that we have today when they age out, and they don't have to be sterilized. And, if the government could just, as a nation, recognize that we should just stay out of the family planning altogether. It's not okay to force sterilization. It's not okay to regulate a woman's womb. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. And then Alabama goes and does this cluster, what? It's like, come on.
Lily Tomlin said,
quick reminder before we go on, we are all comedians. So, okay.
Lily Tomlin said, if men could get pregnant, abortion would be a sacrament.
Yes, that was a comment with Steinem used to say that as well. Who was it? Franny Leibowitz. She had a famous quote about
who?
Fran Leibowitz, if I'm not mistaken. She used to play
She's had a lot of them.
Yeah, she. What does she do? I mean, I've seen her as a judge
she's still
on Law and Order.
Is she still doing that one person show?
Is she
she's a humorist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because
what amazes me about her,
yes,
and this amazes me about several other people in the public eye. She's so bright. She's so funny. She's so literate, and she smokes, and she won't stop. And she won't stop. She won't. And Chappelle won't stop smoking. It just stuns me. In 1964 is when the Surgeon General said, this will kill you. And it's 60 years later. Jesus.
Yeah. No, and I've talked to my parents and I never picked them up. Oh, I did. Every other
but I quit way before.
Who can ever forget Yul Brynner's ad that was released post after he died? What post whatever
post-mortem.
The guy who played Perry Mason's foe, William Talman, who played Hamilton Berger, he did one of those ads.
Yes, one of those. Yeah, and it's like, don't smoke. Just don't pick them up. Just do not smoke.
John Fox, the comedian, remember his video? Did you see it?
No.
Did you? Oh, you did. I'll look it up. I'll bring it next week.
Is he dead?
John Fox is dead. Yes, he died about 15 years ago.
Yeah, but nobody thinks it's going to happen to them, especially teenagers. So
until it does,
right? Those ads are pretty much worthless. They might hit 1 in 100 thousand that hear the message and heed it.
Yeah.
Well, there are people who say, well, my uncle smoked for 40 years and his lungs were as pink as a baby. To which I say, have you seen his lungs?
Yeah.
You have no idea what it.
Well, if he knew they were pink, there must have been an autopsy. Look, my grandfather suffered from emphysema.
Well,
I knew him. He died when I was 16, and when my sister started smoking, it broke his heart. And but she didn't quit until she got pregnant, and it was pregnancy, having to be responsible for another human life, that got her to quit.
Yeah, but
does anybody besides me know people who smoke and when they got pregnant they quit immediately, and as soon as the baby was born they started smoking again?
I don't know anybody like that.
I do.
I
do. A girl named Roberta Wardwell, nice woman, got pregnant, stopped, and then had the baby, smoked. And I had a brother-in-law who, I can't quantify this, okay, because I don't know anything about intelligent quotients, but he might be the dumbest son of a bitch that ever put on socks. Okay. This is a guy who thought that Rocky Marcy
and might be is the least accurate term in that phrase, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Because he's dead. But
wow.
But he said that this always amused me. First of all, this is a guy who spent hours every day, trying to figure out a way to win the lottery.
Ooh.
He had these those books when you were a kid, the books with the black and white backing. Yeah. And I said, listen, I have a better idea. How much did all those books cost you? He said, $7. Okay, do this. Take $7 and burn it in your fucking carpet. Okay. Do that. Okay. And just, and the other thing was, he said that he swore, he was just so convinced that Rocky Marciano could beat Muhammad Ali.
No, are you kidding me?
No, I that's what I said to him. But no, this is what he said. I said, listen,
it'd be a good fight, but he wouldn't win.
I don't think it would be a good fight. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because Muhammad Ali was 6'2.5" and weighed 224 pounds. Yep. And Rocky Marciano was 5'10" and weighed 180.
Yeah.
Ooh,
okay.
He would have
toyed with him. He would have that thing where you put your hand on the guy's head. When they got in a clinch, he'd rub his ass. I'm telling you, he used to do that to guys.
Both of those boxers have in common is they both could take amazing amounts of punishment.
That's right.
And Ali, he was able to stand up to Foreman, and everyone knows you try and beat an Italian, you better bring a lunch, because I mean those people they're just tough as fucking nails. And Rocky was absolutely.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm agreeing with everything you just said about him. Okay. But when you talk about just in terms of size and hand speed, and foot speed, oh my God! But here's the thing: this was the reason he thought he could beat him, other than the fact that Ali was black and my brother-in-law was a malignant racist.
You were about to say racist?
Well, he wouldn't let his kids watch Soul Train. Try that one on. That's true. He really wouldn't.
Your kid, peace, love, and soul. Come on.
So hey, gonna be a showdown. So anyway, so he said, you know what? He said, you know what Marciano could do? He could take his fist and hit a big bag, and it would go all the way around the beam. I said, well, if Ali was tied to a beam, he might have a chance of beating him.
The thing about Ali, though, was he was a great
Jesus
counterpuncher.
Christ. Yeah.
When you could see the counterpunching that he did.
Huh?
When you could see Ali when he would counterpunch. Ali could counterpunch, and he wasn't the cut muscle, he was the smooth muscle guy, but the power he was able to rack up.
He could throw 5 punches. This is not an exaggeration. He could throw 5 punches in 3/5 of a second.
I mean, I did see, it's on YouTube, and it's obviously it's rather old, the Sonny Liston fight. And Liston was an amazing champ.
The first one, you mean?
Yes. Liston was an amazing champ. He really was.
Yeah, he was.
He was not prepared for what was coming his way.
Let me tell you, but there's a side of Ali that people don't talk about, because he did a lot of good things for a lot of people.
Yes, he did.
But if you pissed him off, he would torture you in the ring. And I'll give you 2 examples. One was Ernie Terrell,
Yes.
because he wouldn't call him Ali.
Yeah.
And
Say my
he
name.
just beat him half to death. And if you ever saw the movie Ali with Will Smith, and Smith was great.
Mhm.
If you ever saw that, every time he hit him, he went, "What's my name, motherfucker?" Bam!
Yeah.
What's just took. But the worst one was what he did to Floyd Patterson,
Yes.
because
You got to
Floyd
bring that
Patterson
up.
said, "I'm going to call him Cassius Clay, because that's what his mama calls him." And
Right.
when he invoked his mama,
Right.
all bets were off. And
Right.
so Patterson had a slightly bad back.
Yep.
Okay. And he insisted on fighting the fight. He didn't need the money, just insisted on fighting the fight. I think what it's called is stupid. And
Yeah.
so so they fight, and Ali could have knocked him out in the first round. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. Could have
He
not.
carries him to like the 5th, right?
12th.
He took him to the 12th? Oh my God.
12th.
Damn.
And so he boom, 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 and he would back off for the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And because he knew Patterson didn't have the wherewithal physically to go after him. And then he did this and at one point, Patterson had to take one hand on each side of the ropes and pull himself up, because he did not have the physical strength.
Who was his corner man? Because he should have stopped that fight. Because Dundee would have been corner man for Ali at that point. Am I correct or am I incorrect?
Customato.
It was Cuss?
Yep.
Wow. Because now Patterson had already lost the belt to Liston at that point.
He lost the belt to, well, he not only lost the belt to Liston, but I think you could hear the gentle stream of piss coming out of his trunks. I mean, you know, yeah, he.
Well, Liston was scary. In
Mark's
his day.
Googling it to see what the stats are.
Yeah, I mean, Sonny Liston was a scary. He was a true champ. He was a scary boxer. I would not have wanted to be in the ring with that.
What is Mark Googling?
He's looking up the fights you're talking about.
No, I'm not. I'm looking up. Do you guys know who the current heavyweight champion is?
I have no idea. I've lost
Money Lipschitz. No, I don't know.
Isn't that something that we don't know? That used to be
the hallmark.
That used to be, you knew who won the World Series, you knew who won the Super Bowl, you knew who the heavyweight champ was.
You also used to know who won the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I was going to say, or the Triple Crown.
But you're right, Mark. The whole world would come to a halt. Even in my day, even when you had like the Thrilla in Manila or the Rumble in the Jungle, the whole world stopped.
I mean, it was. I mean,
so who's the current?
When Leonard and Hearns and Hagler came along as middleweights, that kind of took a little bit of the shine off of the heavyweight, because they were great fighters
and they were showmen.
Yeah,
they were.
But still, after they were gone, back to the heavyweights, right? You know, because Tyson was coming along.
But after Tyson, was sort of the air went out of the room.
I think it's a white guy.
Right now,
isn't it the Russian dude?
Are you talking about Klitschko?
Yeah, Klitschko, no. Or are they? Gosh, the last
Tyson Fury.
That's it, Tyson Fury.
That is a white guy. Where'd he come from?
Yeah,
I don't know, but that's
with a name like Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury.
His parents probably named him Tyson.
Tyson Fury.
The minimum weight for a heavyweight is set at 175 pounds.
For a heavyweight?
Doesn't it seem ridiculous? 175?
Those guys
the minimum.
Those guys have surpassed that on the fly. Are you kidding?
I know, but if you get somebody that's 230, 240 pounds,
that guy Tyson Fury, I bet if you can get the stat, I bet he goes at 245, 250.
Let me find it. Hold on.
Well, I don't see the maximum weight on there, but the minimum.
There is no maximum weight.
There is no maximum weight for heavyweight. Once you're over 175, you're a heavyweight. All right.
By the way, Andy, saw your car for the first time yesterday. Nice car. Thumbs up.
Oh, thank you. Is
that Toyota Sienna that you have?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no limit, which explains the brief but fiery career of Fat Ass McGee.
Well, don't forget Butterbean.
God! If ever there was an apt nickname.
Mark's got some statistics he wants to read.
There we go.
There you go.
So, hold on. I don't have his weight yet. His reach is 85 inches.
Jesus, that's more than Liston. Liston was 84.
I know. How come I don't have his weight here?
God damn, 85. Well, you remember Ernie Shavers? I mean, Sam Shavers, who I don't think ever won the belt, but he had an astounding number of wins by knockout.
6'9".
Tyson Fury, 6'9".
Jesus.
6'9".
I think Jesus was 5'11".
Underweight they have it it just says heavyweight. So I guess they don't.
He's
Probably because-
over
probably because it's a-
175 pounds.
I'm sure it's a different weight every weigh-in.
Was he bred in a lab near a nuclear reactor, or is it
I don't know his ethnicity.
6'9". Wow.
I'm betting he
He
wasn't
is
Jewish. but
Tyson
except for
Fury. Tyson Fury is the third heavyweight to ever hold the title twice. Name the other two.
Ali.
Ali?
Muhammad Ali. Okay, that's one. And the
What
other?
about George Foreman? Did he get?
No, Floyd Patterson.
Floyd
You got it.
Patterson. Yep.
Those are the
Ding,
two.
ding,
Hey, Sam, who was the last great Jewish boxer? Because I know the Jews used to get in the ring and toss it around.
Fist of Fury Leibowitz, I believe. was
Didn't the Irish like to fight?
No. There was a time that you could tell who was on the bottom of the economic ladder by who was fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
The last great Jewish fighter was, I think, Benny Leonard.
So they
That'd be
just
like
went
in
to medical school.
But they weren't
and
heavyweights.
did better.
No, they're like middleweights or lightweights.
Yeah. There was a guy named Red Berman
Who was the
who was in the what they called the Joe Louis Bum of the Month Club.
Oh, really?
He literally would fight one guy every month.
Oh boy.
And Red Berman was a friend of mine's father was Red Berman.
Right.
And what I found out from Mr. Berman, who was a really nice guy, just don't piss him off. But he said, the biggest misconception, and he wasn't saying it out of any kind of ego, was that they were bums. He said he went 10 rounds with Joe Louis.
That's not bad, man.
No, hell, you kidding? I know guys who touch gloves, I'd drop like a rock. He said, listen, he whipped me. There's no doubt about it, but I gave him all I got, and he thanked me. He said, you gave me a hell of a fight.
That's one reason I was not happy with Ali at one time, because he said some real shit about Joe Louis. Although, to be fair, later in life, he said that those were remarks that he did regret.
He regretted that, and he regretted what he said about Joe Frazier, because Joe Frazier is one of the people instrumental in Ali getting a license to box again.
Yeah.
But, listen, he was young and dumb and full of, that's all.
All right. Here's our Jewish fighters. Ready?
Ready.
Yuri Foreman.
All right.
Dmitry Salita.
Yes.
Zab Judah.
There you go.
There you go.
And Israel Vasquez.
Yes.
Now Vasquez,
Deborah Carr.
Zab Judah.
Zab Judah, who is black.
Yes, but he loses. His family declared themselves Jewish, saying that they were black Hebrew Israelites.
Well,
those folks are insane.
But
they're the ones who stand on a street corner.
Yeah,
but he lost points because he thanked Jesus after a victory. So
well, that's
not exactly.
I don't see why you think he loses points.
Messianic.
Jesus was Jewish.
Yes, he was.
Jesus
had
was
a nice
Jewish,
career.
and there are Jewish people
Jesus
who
was a
are
Jew,
also
and he had an
Christian.
uppercut.
He had a
He was
nice
a
Jewish
prophet.
mama.
Hey, he really tore up that temple and those money changers.
Oh, speaking of,
Yes, he
Jews
showed
who've been
them.
attacked
Jesus was
recently.
not this wimp. He was a carpenter. I'm sure he was.
But it came
burly.
back on him, because those very same money changers became the head of creative artists. So
I found a whole list of Jewish fighters here.
Yeah.
Lou Tendler from 1913 to 1928.
Yeah.
Benny Valger from 1916 to 1932.
that's a long fighting career.
know this name.
You know this name, Max Baer.
Yeah.
Max Baer, sure. He fought,
Was that Max
29 to
Baer Senior?
41.
29 to 41.
fought Jim Braddock, fought Joe Louis,
Yeah.
and was like a Hollywood celebrity kind of guy.
That was what, Buddy Bear's father? Or no?
Yes,
No.
Okay,
Max
well,
Baer
okay.
Jr.
Max Baer's father.
Okay, all right. I
Who
mean, no,
who
there
is
used
still
to-
alive? Who's still alive today?
I mean, I met.
Yes, he is.
I used to have this great. Back when I owned my own cab company, I used to have a bunch of Jewish kids who were my customers, and they would recommend their brothers and their sisters when they'd come to Michigan. And I got to meet the grandfather of the matriarch, or the patriarch of the family. This guy had been on Normandy and fought his way across Europe, and then came back to America, came back to New York City and made his living in the garment industry. And you could tell this guy in his late 80s was the toughest son of a bitch you'd ever run into in your whole goddamn life.
As soon as you said he was in the garment industry, I knew he was tough.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was a great guy to talk to. But if you think I'd want to take him on in a fight, no, I don't think so. No. Guy would take me apart.
Mike Rossman, Jewish fighter in the 70s. He fought Victor Galindez in the undercard for the Ali Spinks fight.
Really?
73 to 83 was that?
That's
nice.
His career was 73 to 83. Victor Perez, Jewish.
Yeah.
Abe Goldstein.
Is that Jewish?
Al Goldstein's younger
Abe
brother.
Goldstein. What kind of Jew name is that?
What kind of Jew name is? What are you kidding me?
I don't know who was his mother. Was he Jewish?
Somebody's trying to.
Well, that's
pass.
true. That's very true.
Someone's
battling. Oh, I love this name. I'm sure he wasn't born with
Levinsky.
No.
Yes,
you
yes,
know
very
that.
good.
Battling,
Ding, ding, ding.
battling Levinsky. He was born as Barney Williams.
So naturally, you changed
10 to
the name.
1930, 20
He
years.
changed it to. If Williams wasn't Jewish enough for me, he had to change it to Levinsky.
Yeah, if his name was Williams, then his mother was Jewish, which does make you Jewish.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Benny Leonard from 1911 to 19.
Benny Leonard, right? Tough guy.
Yeah. Abe Attell.
Dave Attell's great grandfather.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, he fought from 1900 to 1917. That's an 18-year career. Holy crap!
Shot at the age of 18.
And that would have been back
He
in the
started
bear
at
days.
18.
A lot of those guys, you as you were mentioning them, they fought 16, 17, 18-year careers.
Abe Attell was a featherweight.
Back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, it wasn't unthought of to do a 20-year career in boxing.
And it wasn't unthought of to get killed in the ring. People died. I mean, it was.
He's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Benny Kid Perrette.
Yeah, Jackie Fields. Fields.
Toadie's father.
Yeah.
Jackie Fields. So Jackie Fields, wasn't he the attorney that took the Twix candy bar case for George Costanza in Seinfeld?
Maybe.
I think it was.
No, that was that was the guy played by Greg Morris.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're real and they're spectacular.
Yes.
Who told you to take the bomb? Who told you to put the bomb on? Don't put the bomb on. You don't need the bomb on.
Jackie something Jr. Jackie something Jr.
Yeah.
Basically, it was the character that they based on what's his name from the OJ trial?
Johnny Cochran.
Johnny
Cochran, yeah.
But Cochran wasn't nearly that flamboyant.
Oh,
No.
but you know what though? George Costanza isn't Larry David either, but he is. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Did you see the episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where they got the cast back together from Seinfeld? And
I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
I stopped watching Curb.
Yeah, you told us that last week.
I'm telling you again.
Okay.
But
I hate those supporting characters so much. Barbara was watching me. She goes, "Why are you grinding your teeth?" I said, "Because I want to bite her carotid artery and watch the blood spill out. That's why."
Well, sometimes you've seen enough. I haven't seen all the seasons either, but I saw enough to enjoy the show.
did you guys see that Jerry Seinfeld was accosted over
what's
the
his name?
weekend?
Huh?
Oh, you mean the woman that played his wife is the wife of Robert Kennedy.
Cheryl Hines.
Cheryl Hines. You know,
By the way, they had a fundraiser. Did we talk about this?
We
They had
talked
a
about it last
fundraiser.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob
Every
Schneider and
conservative,
Mike
every
Webster
right-wing
are-
comic you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Both of them?
No, more than that, my friend.
Oh, I have a career chance.
Oh, I've been wanting to tell you this,
Been
Mark.
telling you that all along.
Did I tell you about the thing about Kenny Rogerson and Frank Santarelli? Did I tell you about that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Kenny, I can't believe it. I didn't.
We talk about those two all the time. It surprises me.
But Kenny Rogerson is a great comic.
Yes.
Who's been working in Boston for over 30 years, and
Is he back in Boston now?
been back.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Been back.
Good.
And Santarelli, played Fat Georgie on The Sopranos,
Right.
Yeah.
and was best man at my wedding, and and a lovely guy, and is in going to his daughter's wedding. So so he told me, Frank told me this, and by the way, as I tell you this, please keep in mind, Frank doesn't give a shit what Kenny Rogerson thinks, but Kenny Rogerson can't stand that Santarelli will take a premise, go on stage, work with it, and make it really funny. You know, he
That's a
doesn't.
good talent.
No, but he doesn't sit and write. And Rogerson, a lot of people do this. Orny Adams does that. They sit and they write painstakingly, going over every letter, every syllable. And he deeply resents Santarelli for being successful. So one day, I love this story. One day, about 2 months ago, Billy Burr was at the Wilbur Theater in Boston. 14 sold out shows.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, but he's terrific. God bless him.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, they're all sitting around, Bill Burr and other, comics from Boston, Lenny Clark and all that, and Rogerson. And Frank wasn't there, but somebody told Frank about this. And Billy Burr, not saying this unintentionally, not trying to bust anybody's balls, was the best goddamn comic to ever come out of this city. Frank Santarelli. Frank Santarelli is such a great comedian. He has such a gift of improv and just how he phrases things. And they said that Rogerson had steam coming out of his neck.
Dining room table.
Oh.
Dining room table.
But he wasn't doing it to, bust his chops.
Near the
Right.
window.
Bill Burr genuinely feels that. I mean, so, so my feeling is, don't make Kenny Rogerson mad. He won't give you any more blow. Shut up.
Well, I mean, guys like Lenny Clark. I have no idea why Lenny Clark is funny, but he is. I've never heard him tell jokes. He just kind of goes up there.
He sells it.
Stumbles around, and it always has me just in tears by the time he's done.
Well, the Boston comic, the typical Boston comic.
My favorite Lenny Clark joke is, I wrote a book of my Vietnam War years, the bars of Montreal.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, my favorite Lenny Clark joke is, I don't understand why people have such a problem with gay people. I do not understand it. Live and let live. Okay, that's all. Just please. I will say this, though. The idea of a man putting his penis in my mouth disgusts me. I would never, ever do. Well, all right, I did it once, but I need a ride home from the kid.
I needed the money.
Yeah,
it was. I love. He was telling a story about how one time he was emceeing a club in Boston. Nick DiPaolo came out, started a fight. Absolutely, the entire place was nothing but broken furniture and glass.
Oh no!
And Lenny Clark comes out and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, Nick DiPaolo." And hey, I want to ask you guys
Lenny
about
Lenny Clark and I were in acting class together.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it was Lenny. A lot of I took classes with a lot of comics that did better than I did.
Who was your teacher?
Ellen Gersten was one for that class. I took a class with Jake Johansson and.
What's he done? What's he doing?
Jake Johansson, he still does stand up. He should be doing more than that. He's a good writer. He's very funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But he's like John Heffron. Those guys are still doing the clubs, Probably does cruise ships because you can. The guys that do cruise ships can make twice the money that they make in clubs. Well,
I don't do cruise ships. I have done
clubs
sailors.
aren't paying anything. What's that, Jason?
Said I don't do cruise ships, but I have done sailors quite a bit.
And seamen.
Mark just worked a paying gig locally, just as middle, and they used to feed a meal. So Mark went and ordered because it's in a restaurant,
right?
And they
go, "You want
charged him $28 and some change for his meal." Yeah, so there goes almost half his paycheck.
We didn't know.
That's sad. That's sad when they're.
That's horrible. They should tell you up front, though, that there's no
that's some
gratis
sad shit.
meal.
I mean,
maybe you don't tell you up front.
Maybe you don't order off top of the menu, but that don't mean they shouldn't. At least buy a chicken parm and a side of fries, for God's sakes. I mean,
so what it costs them? What, $3? Come on.
Yeah,
tops.
$28.50.
$3 for
Okay.
the whole thing. Yeah, so if you charge you $5, what the
You
hell?
old timers. Who
What-
was the worst club owner you ever encountered who you knew was a spawn of Satan? And if given the chance,
Frank
you'd put a
Joseph.
stake through their heart and laugh while you saw their twitching corpse expire.
Frank Joseph. Do you remember Frank? Do you remember? Do you remember Frank? Do you remember Frank, Andy?
Up in Lansing?
No.
No.
That's a different. That's Frank.
Bee's Comedy
That's
Kitchen.
Frank Stevens. Frank
Frank
Joseph.
Frank Joseph. Bee's
Frank
Comedy
Joseph
Kitchen.
was the guy that started what became Bee's Comedy Kitchen, but he opened it up as the Laugh Factory
in Detroit on Learned.
on Larned and Bobian, and he emceed the shows, and his entire act was whatever the headline. He would pick up his favorite jokes from the headliner from the week before.
So he'd steal.
So he'd steal.
Yes.
But he was just kind of scum.
But he
Yeah.
would. Mark worked for him, and he owed him $25 crappy dollars in 1983, and he wouldn't give Mark the money. Well, money's tight, so then we show up with some of our
Says your old
big
lady.
college buddies, Rick Surden, and no, you owe him the $25. He
Well-
finally forked it over, but only because Mark was there with some big buddies.
Did he still work with B? Was he still employed by B?
He was B's nephew. That's how
Wow.
she got in at B's.
Yeah, B. I did B's twice. It was just a very interesting exercise in how to hurt yourself.
Yeah, I waitressed for her, and she paid under the table, but they wouldn't have any mechanism to stop people from walking out on their checks. And
Oh,
I knew
God.
it would be a good paralegal because, people walked one night, people left and didn't pay their tabs, and she tried to charge me for it. And I'm like, no, there's minimum.
Oh,
wage,
God,
you can't
please.
charge me for
Weasels.
their tabs. I've tried to stop you. Stop them from leaving and put something in place to make sure people pay their tabs before they go, and you wouldn't do that. I'm not responsible for them leaving.
Not at all.
I'm not
The way-
paying their tabs,
The way B ran the show is like she would keep taking tickets all the way through the first show until the guy got off the stage, and then people would the second show they would start leaving at the point where they just came into the show.
I saw this interview with what's his name, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah.
Who used to be the hottest ticket in the world,
Mhm.
and he literally bad behaviored himself out of the business.
Wow.
Okay. He was doing a gig one night. I can't remember where, somewhere in suburban Boston. They have a lot of satellite gigs there. And he took a fire extinguisher and sprayed it all over the room.
I heard about
forcing
this. Yes.
people to leave.
Yeah.
And you reminded me of this, Susan, when you talked about not paying the tab. Forcing people to leave. And whether they wanted to pay the tab or not, they're like, no, screw this. And he thought it was the funniest thing he had ever seen. And then he's talking to me one day and he says, you know what my dream is? He said, I can't stand Kathy Lee. What's her name? Kathy Lee.
Gifford.
Griffin. Griffin. Gifford, whatever.
Regis's co-host for a while.
Yes. He said, with all her Jesus, and he said, this is what I want to do. I want to go to Denny's and get whatever what's their big breakfast called?
Grand Slam.
The Grand Slam. I want to eat 2 of those. And then I want to put 2 dabs of whatever diuretic it is on your tongue. And as soon as she mentions her son, Cody, barf all over her. Now, when he said it, I laughed. But I'm looking at him. He ain't laughing.
Yeah.
No,
He was serious. Ooh.
He meant it.
He meant to do it.
And I said, leave out for the fact that you would be in jail. Leave that out for a second. What are you thinking?
Yeah,
You don't like her
spit take
either.
is more effective and funny.
Well, I mean,
But
Seinfeld-
what do you are you sick? I really hate her. I said, then write her a nasty letter, okay? Because you're going to go to jail.
Well, Seinfeld really hates him. I mean, he doesn't.
Seinfeld should hate him.
Yeah.
You know the story, everybody?
No.
Tell me.
Seinfeld was dating a girl named Shoshana Lonstein, who was way younger than him. which is fine with me, by the way, because my wife can't hear this. But when I was 33, I was dating a girl who was 18.
Good man.
So both
Fabulous.
adults. All right.
It was exactly. It was fabulous. Although my wife, whenever she hears her name, she goes, "Oh, you mean the love of your life?" I go, "Yes." I mean, oh.
So anyway,
Anyway.
the Seinfeld story. Get to it.
Sorry, here I go. Oh, shut up, Sue. No, here I go. So anyway, so he's Goldthwait, for whatever reason, was taking pot shots at Seinfeld about his girlfriend. You know, don't you think she's a little young for you? Isn't that like baby napping? And then someone said, "Why do you care?" He said, "Well, I really don't. But I just," and he said, "Then why are you busting his chops? You know, there's certainly comics who are dating younger girls. What are you doing?" And he would not let up. And then Seinfeld was doing a Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with a woman whose name I can't remember. She's a big, brassy blonde. And I can't think of her name, but she's very funny.
Oh,
and
the one that does the singing act? She does.
Yes.
She to people in the audience? I can't think of her name either.
And her best friend is Bobcat Goldthwait.
Okay.
And she happens to mention this to Seinfeld. And Seinfeld says, "I hate him."
Oh, God.
And it wasn't, once again,
And they didn't edit it out.
No one's smiling.
Yeah.
And he says, now the reason he hates him is because of the, the Lonstein thing. But but he said, he's not funny. He said, funny is you get up on stage and you tell jokes. You don't act like you have a mental disorder. And that's what he does. And it's not funny. Okay? Nothing about that piece of shit is funny.
Wow.
And I've never heard Seinfeld, no matter
Yeah,
what.
because his whole career is non-offensive.
Right. Well, and then not only that, but I've never heard Seinfeld publicly badmouth another comic.
Yeah.
Ever. Because he plays everything so close to the vest. Mm-hmm. But listen, he's a multi-millionaire, and Bobcat Goldthwait's net worth is $200,000.
Yeah, on a good day.
On a good day. So, but he did it to himself.
Well, there's another great YouTube clip of him sort of when he's just past his prime, and he's doing a set at a comedy, and someone is giving him the light, and he absolutely blows up. He's like, "Don't you?" Who,
Seinfeld did?
No, Bob.
Oh, Goldthwait.
Oh yeah, I would. That doesn't surprise me.
Someone was giving him the light. He was dying. I mean, it was bad.
And he knows he's going to get the light.
I mean, it was like if the person giving him the light, it's like, you should follow the light on this one, Bobcat. This is your way to get out with a few shreds of dignity.
Declare victory and leave the field.
Exactly. That one just didn't go your way. Okay, get over it. It happens to the best of them. It even happens to you. I
saw a video. God, I wish I could get a copy of this, of Seinfeld when he just started. Okay, 1981, 82, 80, something like that. And I'll tell you how long ago this was. He had a beard.
Wow.
Okay, and he's dying. He is dying. And the thing was, he took it with such good grace. It was like, he tells a joke, and it's like crickets. And he goes, "Well, what's that I smell? Oh, it's my act." I mean, he just, and he goes, "This is normally fun." I use the word normally with pity and hate. But just everything he did, it was like, Carson, everything in dying was funny.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, I can't wait to come back here because I'm not wounded enough." He just can't. But I that impressed me more, the way he took it, than any great comedy he ever did, because it was like, I suck tonight, and I've talked to him. I said, "Do you believe the thing about there are no bad audiences, just bad comics?" He goes, "Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not." He said, there are audiences that are drunk or loud or rowdy or stupid. Oh, no.
Mark's been threatened by audiences.
I know a guy got his leg broken by an audience member.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
Well, last night I had a couple
of
dry spots.
That's funny.
Break a leg, literally.
Yeah, Oh, did you guys see that Jerry Seinfeld was accosted over the weekend by our dear friends who were so concerned about peace and love in the Middle East? They decided to go after Jerry as if somehow or another. It was in the news. Yeah, they called him a Nazi, and
who did?
Because protesters who were protesting Jerry Seinfeld, who was at, I forget exactly what the event was, but he came out and they started calling him a baby killer and a Nazi and all manner and sort of pleasant things from our dear friends, the peaceful religion of peace participants.
You know,
wait a minute. Religion of peace, is that an actual term, or is that just something?
No, that's me being snarky and sarcastic about
so
a bunch of folks who I really don't like.
Who
was it? The Palestinians?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, pro-Palestinian, shall we say? I mean, I don't know. I didn't check their but
it
essentially
doesn't.
because we all know that if you're a Jew, then you must be in charge of the foreign policy of Israel, right? I mean, that's how it works, or something.
I'm sorry. I understand why people abhor what's going on in the Middle East. I do, but to act like this is completely Israel's fault is mean you're going back in time to when Israel oppressed. No, it has nothing to do with what Hamas did. They shot women in the eyes, in the face. No. And for you not to know that, you're young. You know, you're idiots.
Yes.
You're idiots. They're the same guys who, when I was a kid, called cops pigs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same people. And one of my friends says, we're going to stand outside I love this. This guy was so dumb. He shouldn't be allowed to walk. He said, I swear to God, he goes, we're going to go stand outside a police precinct in DC, and we're going to start yelling pigs. I said,
empty now.
And you're telling me this why? Well, we want you to join us. To what? Establish the body count? What are you doing? No, of course not. No.
Not take coffee.
I mean, so why do you think Hamas put all their weaponries in the hospitals, put all their weaponries under schools and all that stuff? It's basically because it becomes a political.
The people who do that. This might sound
don't dump it.
Tangential. The people who have never worked for a living.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
They are spoiled. They have never. By the way, under that category, Tom Suozzi, the Democrat, won the seat vacated by George Santos.
Oh God! Don't get me started.
Yeah, I know. And
George was my boy. He was my heartthrob.
I think you're lying, but we'll move on. Anyway, so it's a great victory. Suozzi, is a really good man, and the woman who he was running against is to the right of any politician you can think of. Okay? So she had no chance of winning, but because part of it was in a conservative suburb, he only won by 9 points. Had it been just in his district, he would have won by 18. But that's another point. So he's congratulating people. He's thanking everybody who worked so hard. And out of nowhere comes this woman, white woman, with a Palestinian flag. Until you right the wrong. And when I tell you, she was zoomed off that stage. I mean, I don't think her feet would touch the ground. She literally got like it was the hook. She got the hook. Good. It was that fast. And somebody said, do you think that's right? I said, no, it should have been more painful and more embarrassing and more disturbing. Okay. This is his victory party. Okay. It's not like Hitler won. Okay. It's he's a Democrat. He's a moderate Democrat, and he won. And she's just trying to and all she did was get arrested.
It was his old district, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He just didn't run. He was running for governor. That's why he didn't run for
and got his ass whipped.
Yeah.
Well, again, the whole Republicans getting rid of George Santos is just demonstrating that they are the Washington Generals of politics. And,
but by the way, did anyone see Trump at this thing for the conservative of black conservatives?
I saw part of that, and
he said, I really relate to you because I too have had my mugshot taken. And I too, I'm not done. You didn't hear this? I too have had my mugshot taken. I too have been indicted for crimes I didn't commit. So in other words, listen, I know you're all drug runners and pimps And I feel you.
Yeah.
And this is what bothers me. It's the thing I said the other day. I'm not as bothered by what Trump says, is the fact that none of those people are angry about it. That everything he says is so stupid and wrong. And so he's talking to black people. I know they're conservatives, but they're still black. Maybe not Tim Scott, but they're still black. And they don't react to this.
No.
And I just, it astounds me,
Sam,
that they don't react to
politics
this.
has gotten so ridiculously absurd. I find myself going back to the past, even if I don't agree with them, just to find politicians who actually had a certain amount of a dignity, a little bit of intelligence, a little bit of political
Did you see
savvy.
what the there's a poll taken, and 59% of registered voters, okay, in South Carolina, this is important, in South Carolina, said that if Trump gets indicted, they're not going to vote for him. 59%. No, 36% said that they think that Nikki Haley has a chance to beat him in the primaries.
It ain't gonna happen. They've had the South Carolina primary. Trump won, and Trump's going to be the nominee for the Republicans, and Joe Biden is going to be the nominee for the Democrats. God help you. I don't know how that works. How you can't arrange a stroke and put Madam Hillary in charge, so at least you have a chance. I don't know. I don't think Michelle Obama is the great white hope. Pardon the expression.
No, she's not, and she doesn't want to run.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe she's had enough. I mean, at least Hillary's had elective office.
Who wants?
There's something that Michelle Obama said that isn't true anymore, which is when they go low, we go high. No more. When they go low, we kick them in the balls and say, "How does that feel, bitch?" No more of that. No more of this. We go high. There's no. Snaking. We're better than you. We know they're better. We know that we're better than you.
Yeah, but this is also the party that embraces Al Sharpton. And I'm sorry, I still remember Yankel Rosenblum. I still remember Freddie's Fashion Mart. I still remember him just raking the fucking muck. And now he's the guy whose ring you got to kiss. No.
Everybody's entitled to change, Jason. Everybody isn't. Are you listening to me? Everybody is entitled to turn over a new leaf. And Reverend Sharpton, who for the purposes of this monologue will be called "The fuck were you thinking?" Should be given that same opportunity. Okay, his National Action Network, or as I call it, nah.
Hey, I met Jesse Jackson once out in front of the Detroit MGM Grand. He was walking out. I was working as a chauffeur at the time. He comes out with a 4-man security entourage, and I'm like, Reverend Jackson, how's it going? And he stops for like 10 seconds. Hi, how you doing? I mean, not for very long, but I mean, he could have just said, "Go fuck yourself, I'm busy," right? Hi, how you doing?
He fell asleep during the interview with him.
But
during my interview with him, he fell asleep.
Really? Who, Jesse?
Until I said pull over, and immediately he in some ways he's a more egregious phony than Sharpton.
Well, I know
it was nice of him to say hello. I'm not.
Coretta Scott King was unhappy with him because he was still wearing the bloodstained shirt 3 days later with her husband's blood on it.
Exactly.
And
he's an opportunist.
But unfortunately, he did also do some good things, I think, in the 70s. And at least he wasn't sitting there talking about these Jew interlopers coming into our neighborhood and in Crown Heights. And again, at a time really inflamed. You were there. I mean, I don't need to tell you.
Well, you know what? I don't. What he really meant to say was "damn Jew interlopers."
Oh.
You see, people always forget that.
It's
closing time, Daddy.
Yeah, it is
closing time.
Andy, before we get out of here,
yes,
because you did so much talking this week, but you didn't mention, what is Joe Gillis?
Oh, Joe Gillis is the character from Sunset Boulevard, who's basically William Holden's character.
Oh, okay, all right.
I heard you used to be
the writer who got killed. Was that?
Oh, you're Norma Desmond. You used to be big. I still am big. It's the
Big.
movies that got small.
You got small. Take the Vicuna.
Thanks, Mike. Yes.
Well, that's another 60 minutes of hanging out with aged stand-up comics.
And a poet.
And a poet.
Yeah.
Really, wait, really ancient.
Yeah, really ancient.
Aunt
Anyway,
Jemima, I call Aunt Jemima kid.
yeah. We're here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. So join us. Tell your friends about it. I got to do a video.
Oh, you saw Moses' schoolmate. There he is.
Jason will talk afterwards about other things. And all of you stick around afterwards. We'll do a little post-production meeting here. But for the rest of you, we'll be back next Monday night at 8 o'clock where we chat. If you want to get involved with the show, you can be on it. You can make comments on YouTube. However you want to be involved, contact me. I'm Mark Sweetman. I'm on the internet. You'll find me. Anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody.
Ciao
Good
for
night.
now.
Oh, yeah.